You finished with it? Oh, okay. Oh, okay, yeah, I will.
I'm doing good. What about yourself? All right, Frederick.
Thank you for the water. I was thinking about it.
Hammond City Council Public Hearing Agenda, December 10th, 2024, 5:30 p.m. Roll call, please.
Councilman Andrews,
Present.
Councilwoman Gonzalez,
Present.
Councilman Divatario, Councilman Leon,
Present.
Councilman Wells.
Public hearing none. Hammond City Council Regular Session Agenda, December 10th, 2024, 5:30 p.m. Roll call, please.
Councilman Leon, Councilwoman Gonzalez,
Present.
Councilman Andrews,
Present.
Councilman Wells, and Councilman Divatario.
You're going to stand for our prayer, please. Most gracious, loving Father, we thank you on this day. We give you glory and honor and praise that is due your name. Father God, we come right now, Father God, just before you, just to tell you thank you. Thanking you for health and strength in our body. Thanking you for allowing us another day's journey. Father God, we know that we are not a perfect people, but we strive for perfection. So on today, dear Heavenly Father, we come to handle your business, decent order, and pleasing in your sight. Therefore, you would get all glory and all honor and all praise. We know, dear Heavenly Father, that we've entered into the season of gift giving, but we know that you are the best gift and the greatest gift because you allowed your Son to come and die in our place. I ask that you continue to bless our city, continue to bless this council, continue to protect and serve, cover our police and fire department that they would continue to protect and serve us right now. We thank you for it all right now because without you, we are nothing. We have to continue to touch our hearts, touch our minds. Most of the Heavenly Father, continue to give us the peace that surpasses all understanding. We thank you for it all right now. In your darling Son, Jesus Christ's name, we pray. Amen. For our Pledge of Allegiance, I ask that all veterans and active military please render the proper salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. I get the approval of our minutes from our November 19th, 2024 meeting, please.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Andrews,
Aye.
Councilman Leon,
Aye.
Councilman Leon. I'm sorry, Councilman, who did I miss?
Me.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Aye.
Final adoption of ordinance, none. Introduction of ordinance number 1.
Introduction of an ordinance requiring budget reports to the city council at the second city council meeting following the end of each quarter. Councilman Andrews.
Right now, you're receiving a copy of year-to-date from July 1st until yesterday. You want one, Ms. Lisa?
I got one.
This report is ran, let me get back by my mic. This report, again, as I stated, is the city budget report from July 1st up until yesterday. You can actually see at the bottom where today it was ran and time stamped at 12:45 p.m. It's the general fund. It shows it breakdown by each department. Now, this particular report here consists of 53 pages. So this is what the system can run and generate, and then it will break down by each department. And again, as I stated, it is stamped, dated, stamped by the time, and it can't be, how can I use the word, played with, because it's going to show exactly what it is. If there's something else that we want to look for or look at, we could update and add in it. But as of right now, this is the report that's showing each department, each breakdown by department. Some departments have several different breakdowns in it, but it's showing the year-to-date from the beginning of our fiscal year up until today's date.
Councilman, if I could just add one comment. So you may see some negative balances on this report, and that's because some of our revenues, our large revenues, like our property taxes, our sales tax for the quarter, those haven't been reported yet. So around this time of year, We always appear to be running a little bit in the red, but come January, February, when our sales tax revenue comes in and our property tax revenue in particular comes in, it puts us in the black.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions or comments on this item?
So this is, after meeting with Charles, determining the easiest way for the city to provide what we're looking for and without wasting, not wasting, but spending too much time on employees who have a lot of things to do. So I appreciate
Right.
you working with the administration on making this work.
Actually, we started this process before Laura left.
Yeah.
And we looked at several different options, and to me, this was the better one to roll with.
Andre, I thought we already introduced this. I guess we're introducing it because it's a different, the word, substantively it's different.
I think it was tabled last time. I don't think it was introduced. It was tabled. It was not introduced, so we need to start over with
Okay.
introduction.
Well, I was reviewing all the meetings earlier, and I thought it was introduced. Doesn't matter. Introduce it again.
Anyone from the public? Pleasure of the council.
Make a motion, introduce.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Leon?
Introduction number 2.
Introduction of an ordinance to approve a street naming request by Devon Wells to rename Carolina Street to Willie Grant Jackson Drive.
Just a reminder, everyone, this is the introduction. This is the public notice that we provide to the public, to the council, that at the next council meeting, we will open the floor to public comment. But just to give you a general idea of what this is and how we got to here, the Planning and Zoning Commission met for their work session on November 7th. They had a full commission meeting on the 14th. This was unanimously recommended for approval. It would have gone to the next council meeting at the end of November, but it fell during Thanksgiving. That's why it's on this agenda. It would be open for public hearing if it's introduced tonight on January 14th, which is the next time that the council will meet.
Anyone else have any questions on this item? Pleasure of the council.
Make a motion, introduce.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Leon? Councilman Andrews?
Aye. Introduction number 3.
Introduction of an ordinance to approve a rezoning request by Kenneth Crockett to rezone 517 Hewitt Road from RS-11A to MX-N in accordance with the preliminary plat by Max Bowden, Inc., dated 8/21/24. Charles?
Again, very similar to the previous one, this is the introduction, the notice that we're going to have a public hearing on this on January 14th if it's introduced tonight. Again, the Planning and Zoning Commission had a work session meeting on this on November 7th, the public hearing on November 14th. It's being brought to the council tonight, and again, would go before the council and the public for a hearing on the 14th. It was unanimously approved by the commission.
Charles, are you controlling this? No. Huh? Go, the colored map that we have, the very last attachment, I don't know who's controlling it, but it still shows that the neighboring property is MXC. That's the same property we already changed to MXN, correct?
Correct, yes.
So
This
now that
is-
whole area is MXN.
Correct. The parcels that Councilwoman Gonzalez is referring to, the one the dark green that's labeled MXC, the smaller portion that's labeled MXN, that was rezoned MXN at the request of the council. At the time that this was introduced, it was still zoned that way.
That's fine. I was just making sure I had the same one.
And this additional parcel, which is highlighted in red, is what is going to be rezoned MXN and made part of those other parcels. This is the gentleman that has a school, I believe he's trying to
Yes.
open in this area.
Any questions or concerns for the council? Make a motion to introduce.
Second.
Councilman Leon?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye. Introduction number 4.
Introduction of an ordinance to approve a rezoning request by Brian Dozier to rezone 1009 CM Fagan Drive from MX-N to MX-C in accordance with the preliminary plat by Martin Surveying Solutions, LLC, dated 6/27/2024. Charles Borcher.
Again, this is the introduction, for public notice on public hearing on the 14th of January. If it's introduced tonight, Once again, the Planning and Zoning Commission met on this for their work session on November 7th. They had a full commission meeting on November 14th. It was unanimously considered for approval. And as you can see in this drawing here, it's the parcel that's highlighted in red on the corner, the southeast corner of CM Fagan Drive and J.W. Davis.
Charles, my only point on this is that all 3 of the last ones have been in District 3, and since Councilman Wells is not here, sometimes people think they're going to fly through, and I don't know if at the next meeting, these people come thinking they're going to vote on it, and he's going to say, well, I need more time because I haven't talked to anyone. So maybe let them know, maybe ask him, let him know that
Sure.
they're posited to be voted on, so that everyone doesn't think, the people who are applying don't all of a sudden come here and it's like, wait, we need a month to talk about it.
If I remember correctly, the owner, developer of this parcel indicated they had spoken with Councilman Wells and that he was favorable for this. But we'll certainly reach out to Councilman Wells between now and the 14th if this is introduced and get his feedback.
Okay. Pleasure of the council.
Motion to introduce.
Second.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Leon?
Resolution number 1.
A resolution to reappoint Jessica Shirey to the Hammond Historic District Commission for a 4-year term until December 31st, 2028. She was originally appointed to the commission on October 20th, 2015. Heather?
Yeah, I'm here presenting for the mayor. Ms. Shirey has served as a highly dedicated commissioner for the Historic District since October 20th, 2015, meeting all requirements set forth for a Historic District Commissioner, and currently serves as the vice chairman. Ms. Shirey owns property within the district as well. At her last reappointment on January 12th, 2021, Ms. Shirey received a unanimous confirmation from this council. She is very active throughout the Hammond community, and through her training and almost 10 years of service to the commission, Ms. Shirey is a very valuable asset to this commission. Ms. Shirey is present for any questions.
Ms. Shire, would you like to come up? Oh. No, just wanted to tell you thank you for your service and wanting to continue into another 4-year term.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks we get right here. So thank you for thinking.
Any questions or concerns from anyone in the audience? I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Leon? Aye. Councilman Andrews?
Aye. Resolution number 2.
Resolution to reappoint John Exnicius,
Good job.
probably missed, I did that,
You did it.
to the Hammond Historic District Commission for a 4-year term until December 31st, 2028. He was originally appointed to the commission on October 8, 2019. Heather Debo.
Mr. Ignatius has served as a highly dedicated commissioner for the Historic District since October 8, 2019, meeting all requirements set forth for a Historic District Commissioner. At his last appointment on January 12, 2021, Mr. Ignatius received a 4-0 confirmation from this council. He also currently serves as the board chairman of the Hammond Downtown Development District and works as a vital bridge between the commission and the DDD for their work together for the Hammond community. Through his training and almost 6 years of service to both the commission and the Hammond community, Mr. Ignatius is a valuable asset to this commission. Mr. Ignatius is present for any questions.
John?
And I thank you very much.
Thank you for your service.
Again, I want to thank you for your service and wanting to recommit to another 4-year term.
In addition to the DDD board, so thank you.
Anyone else from the public have any questions or concerns on this item? Pleasure of the council.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Leon?
Resolution number,
Councilman Divatario?
confirmation.
Okay, yeah, aye.
John.
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution number 3.
A resolution to reappoint Tanya Turner to the Hammond Historic District Commission for a 4-year term until December 31st, 2028. She was originally appointed to the commission on July 25th, 2023, to complete the remainder of the term served by Shauna Seals. Heather Dybelt.
Ms. Turner was just recently appointed to the Hammond Historic District Commission on July 25th, 2023, where she received a unanimous confirmation by this council to serve the remainder of Ms. Shauna Seals' term and meets all requirements set forth for a Historic District Commissioner. Ms. Turner is a lifetime resident of the city of Hammond, with the exception of the time she spent serving our country in the United States Navy. She is actively involved in the African American Heritage Museum, where she most recently served as secretary. During her short tenure on the commission, Ms. Turner has proven to be a very valuable asset to the commission. Ms. Turner is present for any questions.
Good evening.
Good evening to you, Ms. Turner. At this time, I'd like to publicly thank you, one, for stepping up to fill Ms. Seals' seat, the remaining of her term, and that you decided to accept a 4-year term as well.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank
Now
you.
it's your seat.
Thank you.
Anyone from the public have any questions on this item? I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilman Leon. Councilman Divatario.
Aye.
Councilman Andrews.
Aye. Resolution number 4.
Resolution to reappoint Brandon Ricotta to the Hammond Historic District Commission for a 4-year term until December 31st, 2028. He was originally appointed to the commission on July 25th, 2023, to complete the remainder of the term served by Jennifer White. Heather.
Mr. Ricotta was just recently appointed to the Historic District Commission on July 25th, 2023, where he received a unanimous confirmation by this council to serve the remainder of Ms. Jennifer White's term and meets all the requirements set forth for a Historic District Commissioner. Mr. Ricotta has lived most of his life in the city of Hammond and serves or has served this community through his involvement in multiple nonprofit boards such as TARC, Crime Stoppers, and the Hammond Airshow Committee. Mr. Ricotta's family history runs deep in the Historic District of Hammond and his passion for his preservation even deeper. During his short tenure on the commission, Mr. Ricotta has proven to be a very valuable asset to the commission. Mr. Ricotta is present for any questions.
On your way coming up, Mr. Ricotta, I want to thank you publicly for filling the remainder term of Ms. White and accepting a 4-year term of your own. So we thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon.
And I'm very happy to serve on this committee. It's
Pleasure of the council.
Make a motion to approve.
Councilman Leon. Councilman Divatario.
Aye.
Councilman Andrews.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Resolution number 5.
Resolution to appoint Courtney Mailer to the Hammond Historic District Commission for a 1-year term until December 31st, 2025. This will complete the term served by Robert Deschler. Heather.
Ms. Mailer has been a resident of Hammond for 40 years, with 31 of those living right here in downtown. Ms. Mailer's resume speaks for itself. She has knowledge and experience in archaeology, history, urban studies, and communication. Ms. Mailer will begin her graduate studies at UNO in May 2025 in planning and urban studies with a concentration in historic preservation, urban planning, and cultural resource management. She is currently working at UNO's anthropology department and interns at ELOS here in Hammond. In addition to all her relevant coursework, Ms. Mailer is the co-author for several archaeological reports for the state of Louisiana, been featured in publications for her work as an archaeologist in both the field and in the lab, has worked on Section 106 projects, and spearheaded a project that focused on the collection of artifacts from the St. Louis Cathedral that was also recently published. She currently volunteers for History Forge, SELA, through a UNO, which is a local history project that combines historic maps and photos with census records of the people living in Southeast Louisiana. Based on the information presented and my personal interactions with her, I believe that Ms. Mailer meets all the requirements set forth for a Historic District Commissioner, and I believe that she would be a very valuable asset to the Commission. Ms. Mailer would be serving the remainder of Mr. Dishler's term, which is only 1 year, so hopefully we will be back here next year asking for her confirmation again. Ms. Mailer is present for any questions.
Hello.
How you doing?
Courtney, I've known you since high school. I didn't know your resume included such impressive things. I think you'd be a valuable asset to the Historic District, and thank you for being willing to serve.
Thank you, Carly. Appreciate that.
Thank you for volunteering your service. Pleasure of the council.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Leon? Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Resolution number 6.
A resolution to approve Lighthouse Coastal Brasserie,
You skipped one.
number 6.
Trying to get through it.
Sorry.
So one more. I'm up again.
Resolution to appoint Michael Holly to the Hammond Historic District Commission for a year term until December 31st, 2028. Mr. Holly is a qualified architect who previously served on the commission as chairman from 1978 to 1988 and will be taking over for Ryan Folk, who has served on the commission for the past 15 years. Heather?
Mr. Holly has been a resident in the Hammond area for the past 47 years. Mr. Holly's resume speaks volumes. He owns 5 separate properties within the Hammond National Register District and has historically restored properties in the Bywater District of New Orleans. Mr. Holly has been involved with the historic rehabilitation projects in Hammond, including but not limited to the Columbia Theater, the Baltzell Building, the Ritz Theater, and the Morgan and Lindsay Apartments. Mr. Holly's accolades are far too numerous to list here today, but to mention a few, Mr. Holly has been a registered architect since 1977 and holds licenses in Louisiana, Texas, and Mississippi. He served as an inaugural member of the Hammond Historic District Commission from 1978 to 1988 as a past chairman, and in 1979 began the process of rejuvenation of our successful historic district as a model for downtown redevelopment that is being used as an example throughout the state of Louisiana. Mr. Holly is also a former chairman of the DDD's Board of Directors. He has served on several boards and committees in Hammond and throughout the state, received numerous awards for his work in architectural design and leadership, and is a current board member for his district for the Louisiana State Board of Architectural Examiners. Mr. Holly meets all the requirements set forth for a Historic District Commissioner, and I believe that he will be a very valuable asset to the Commission for a second time. Mr. Holly will be taking over for Mr. Falk, who served the Commission for 15 years. Mr. Holly is present for any questions.
Happy to serve.
Thank you. Your resume obviously speaks volumes, as I know you were part of the whole project of getting downtown revitalized. So
Yes,
thank you
and-
for your past work and what your future work is going to be.
I'll have to knock a little rust off to get back into the commission, so.
And we appreciate Ryan for 15 years of service. I asked him at Kiwanis today if he's sure he was ready to give it up, and he's
Well,
yes,
my arm hurts.
passing it on to you.
We thank you for signing up for 4 years. Pleasure of the council.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Leon?
I will say this about the historic district with we thank you for the work that you do, volunteering, putting your time in. We know that you don't get paid for this, but we really appreciate the job that you do.
And thank you, Heather, for spearheading this group.
Resolution number 7.
A resolution to approve Lighthouse Coastal Brasserie located at 116 West Talmud Street, Hammond, Louisiana, 70401, to obtain an alcohol permit for a restaurant. The owner is Lighthouse Coastal LLC. Charles Brocher.
There's actually someone here to speak, I think is going to do a very good job here. Casey sent me an update. They've met all the requirements for the permit, so we're just asking them to come before the council and get your approval.
We're very excited about this project. So thank you guys for having us here tonight.
It looks nice. It looks nice from what I can see from the windows. It looks very nice, so glad to see something really nice in a little area coming in there. Been in need, so
Yeah,
I'm excited to see it.
Only positive feedback so far, so it's been
That's
a joy.
good.
I'm happy to have you.
Anyone else from the public?
Excuse me, what was your name?
My name Allison Rubio.
Allison.
Rubio.
Anyone else from the council? Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilman Leon?
Resolution number 8.
A resolution providing for canvassing the returns and declaring the results of the special election held in the city of Hammond, state of Louisiana, on Tuesday, November 5th, 2024, to vote upon the adoption of amendments to the current city of Hammond Home Rule Charter. Attorney Andre?
Yes, council members, earlier this year, you called for an election for 2 propositions to amend the home rule charter, and that election was held. This is a post-election proceeding requirement required by law, where basically you receive the results of the election, examine them, they call it a canvass, and declare the results of the election based upon the official voting result from the Louisiana Secretary of State. So this is the canvass of the returns. This is the formal document that would be voted on, would be approved and filed with the Louisiana Secretary of State and filed with the records of the city.
Anyone from the public have any questions on this item? Anyone from the council? Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Leon?
Resolution number 9.
A resolution to purchase a Cummins ISL engine from Siddons Martin Emergency Group and install in a 2018 Pierce Saber pumper fire truck, engine 11, in the amount of $66,075.14. Charles?
This one's pretty self-explanatory. We have a 2008 fire engine that needs a new engine. As the public might imagine, fire engines, police vehicles, they get a lot more use than your typical personally owned vehicle. They're sitting there running while they're fighting fires. To replace the fire engine that we currently have with a brand new one of the same, we'd be looking at probably around $800,000. This is a much more economical way to put the fire engine back in service. The new engine will cost just under $67,000.
Anyone from the public on this item? Anyone from the council questions? Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Leon? Aye. Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye. Resolution number 10.
A resolution to purchase a Woods BW 15.72-inch bat-wing cutter from Star Equipment in the amount of $28,188.55. State contract number 4400025551. Charles?
This is not a new bat-wing cutter, just to make it clear. What the council did at its last meeting was approved moving funds to make this purchase. So tonight, what we're asking the council to do is actually approve the purchase. You've already approved moving the funds for the purchase. Now we actually are asking you to allow us to make the purchase.
Any questions from anyone in the public? Pleasure of the council.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Councilman Leon?
Aye.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Resolution number 11.
A resolution to authorize the purchase of 4 Dodge Durangos from Premier Dodge for a total of $183,039. State contract number 4400002379. Charles?
This one and the next one are related. Every year, the police department purchases new patrol vehicles. We actually have a millage to do this. This year, partly at the request of the council and members of the public, they reached out to local dealerships. The local dealerships were not able to provide a quote for the Dodge Durangos, so that's being purchased or being proposed to be purchased under state contract from an out-of-city vendor. The Chevy Tahoes were available to be sold through a local dealership, and so that's the next item. We would be purchasing those locally. My understanding is that local dealership has agreed to meet the state contract pricing.
Charles, how many cars didn't we purchase about 8 earlier this year? Or how many we purchased earlier?
I believe the ones we purchased earlier in the year were from the previous year. I think that there was a proposal to purchase vehicles, and if I remember correctly, by the time it came back, it was tabled, by the time it came back to the council, those vehicles were no longer available. Part of the problem in recent years has been the microchips. There's this chip shortage that we're still experiencing after COVID, where manufacturing was depressed. So a lot of vehicles just aren't available like they were. So I think those ones we purchased earlier in the year would have actually been purchased last year had it worked out. This would be for the current year. They purchase somewhere between 8 and 10 vehicles a year to replace ones that need to be replaced.
Are these available and ready to go? I mean, since we've had a backlog, we approve the purchases and then we don't get them for 6 to 8 months.
Part of the goal here is to place these orders as soon as possible so that we can get on those lists. When I spoke to Chief Bergeron, he told me that just because we essentially place the order now doesn't mean they'll be fulfilled now. We will get on the list, and as soon as those vehicles become available through the dealership, we'll be able to go pick them up.
Okay.
I think you was talking about them trucks, Sam, Ford trucks that they.
Oh,
It
okay,
ended
yeah.
up-
Yeah, I know, it seems like a lot, so I just didn't know. I thought I wanted to make sure.
I think that's what it was, those
I was
trucks.
just curious. I thought we might have been opening a car lot for a second, so just wanted to make sure.
All right. Pleasure of the council.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Leon?
Aye.
Resolution number 12.
Resolution to authorize the purchase of 4 Chevy Tahoes from Ross Downing Chevrolet for a total of $208,568. Charles?
As I explained earlier, these would be the ones that we're purchasing locally.
All right. Any questions from anyone in the public? Council?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilman Leon?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye. Resolution number 13.
A resolution, 1, accepting a $236,635 grant from the Community Development Block Grant Program for improvements to Martin Luther King Park, and 2, authorizing the mayor or his designee to complete and sign related documents. There is no match requirement. Charles Busher.
This is the one I previously spoke about. The council was asked to approve the citizen participation plan, which is part of our requirements to participate in the federal community development block grant program. I think right after that council meeting, I received notice that we received the award, which is uncanny, but we're very excited. It's been a process to get to this point. This will set the stage for annual awards. We won't have to apply. They will be annual allocations to the city based on our demographics and some other factors. We have a 3-year plan in our initial first 3 years of funding, which will address improvements in Martin Luther King Park and Z. Murray Park, which is what we were planning to do through the state program with the Love Louisiana Doors grants until we ran into some issues programmatically there. There is no match requirement, which is awesome.
Anyone from the public?
Charles, when you said that it opens it to yearly funding, is it this 236 is the total and that's spread over years, or is it a different amount every year?
This is the amount for the first year, and we're expecting that we'll receive around the same amount each year for the next, well, for as long as we're in the federal program.
And then but this is for this year's and just for MLK, and then potentially the next year grant would be the one you're talking about for Zamurray.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
Any other questions? Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Andrews,
Aye.
Councilman Divatario,
Aye.
Councilman Leon. Aye. Councilwoman Gonzalez,
Aye.
Councilman Wells.
Charles, real quick, right on the park, did we ever get those cameras installed at Jackson Park?
I am not sure about that. I had a conversation with Rick in IT, and I know he was working on that. I'm not 100% sure on the status, but I will find out for you
Okay,
where
that'd
we
be
are
great.
with that.
Yeah.
I know I was in his office a couple of weeks ago, and he had cameras in a box. I'm not sure if those were for Jackson, but they could be. I'll find out.
Give me an update later this week. Thank you.
Councilman Wells, this is item 13 that when we were coming in, that's on the agenda. We just need to record some vote for you. This is the MLK Community Development Block Grant Program.
Yes, yes,
Vote yes.
yes. Thank you.
Resolution number 14.
A resolution, one, accepting a $300,000 appropriation from the state of Louisiana for water meter upgrades, and two, authorizing the mayor or his designee to complete and sign related documents. There is no match requirement. Charles Barsher.
These next three are a bit unusual in the sense that these are appropriations. Typically, we apply for state funding through the capital outlay program. We come to the council to approve those. This was a situation where we had some legislators who were able to come to us with basically saying, hey, we think we can get you some money. So these next three, actually next four, are appropriations. There's no match requirement. These are, I hate to call them free monies, but they're free monies to do these projects. So we're asking for the council's approval so we can proceed. The water meter upgrades for this first one, we've been trying to upgrade some of our older meters to the wireless meters. We have some old meters that are behind buildings and difficult to reach places. Upgrading them to the wireless meters would mean that our staff would be able to basically scan them from the streets. It's a more accurate system than the manual reads.
So,
I was just saying, this is to just say, yes, we'll take your money, but then we will be presented with purchase order and a plan for
Correct.
what to use this money with to then vote on that, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
so when you said being able to read the meters without getting out the vehicle, would this just be for businesses or this would be for homes as well?
It could be for either. I think we're going to look at some of where our oldest meters are, where our most difficult to read or problematic meters are, and upgrade those. So I don't know exactly where they will be at this point in time. But as Councilwoman Gonzalez suggested, we will be coming back to the council with a list of meters and how much it's going to cost, and we'll be able to tell you at that time exactly where they will be.
Anyone from the public on this item? Anyone else from the council?
Yes. Charles, how the water department gonna know what meters are old and what meters are not old?
They have a system of tracking that. We have newer meters that are wireless, so we have those. We have a list of those, an inventory of those, and then we have, I believe, 2 or 3 different models of the older meters, and they have an inventory of those. So my thought is we would start with the oldest meters in our inventory and work on upgrading those, and then the other primary target would be those meters that are in difficult to reach, difficult to read places, behind buildings, you know, on a not on a pole, but away from, with apartments and whatnot, you'll sometimes have meters that are away from the actual structure. You have to kind of know where they are. So trying to address those issues so that we can read the meters more efficiently.
Okay, ask you a question, and it might be too difficult, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. How many water meters we have, Charles?
I am going to estimate that around 8,000. That's based on the number of commercial and residential customers we have. We have around 8,000. That I may be off a few hundred, but it's around 8,000.
Okay, before we got up here, all the city councilmen, they used to have a transmitter to read the meters without somebody being there. And is that still into effect right now? They had a transmitter which you can go out and read the meters without going out there, a person actually going out there. So we started this, hold up 1 minute, Charles, before you say something. We started this before we even got up here. But it ended up costing the city $1 million to start this project. And it never got off the ground. So the meter readers still had to go out and read the meters. And I know there's still grant money But in the meantime, the city gonna have to put up money also in order to get this going, because $300,000, that's no money for this project. And so, I understand what you said, it's free money, but you can't start something and don't finish it. So, you have to be careful when you're accepting something free, because with the city, because right now, and everybody know, the city haven't went up on the water rates in a minute. So, that's a problem. So, here we about to get into another problem. We ain't solved problem number one or number two. So you're looking at getting some grant money, and just like at my house, I can say this here. The other day we had to have a reread on my water meter personally at my house. So I'm saying, don't sit here and say what sound good. And it's gonna be like this here from this point on. Anybody up here, tell the truth. If you're not telling the truth, don't say nothing at all. So we're looking at this here grant, and just like you said about the you didn't say this here, but I know this here. We got a transmitter right now in one of the city vehicles that's been broke a long time. So the guys actually have to go out and read the meters, because we never did push it. Not this city councilman, but the city councilman before us, which cost the city over $1 million. And so we're gonna start something, but yet we need to finish it, because I got a few transmitters on some of the meters on my rental property, but someone still have to come out and read it. So that antenna, will that antenna work on that old truck for these new meters?
So let me try to back up to your original statement about, there's two separate things. The wireless meters can be read from a device that's used by our water meter technicians. They still have to go out, they still have to drive the streets, but they can often scan those meters from the street. They don't have to physically get out of the vehicles, walk up to the meter, take a reading from the meter. The old way you did it is you went and you looked at the meter and you read that off of the meter, you wrote down, what the reading was. That is inherently error prone, right? Someone can write something down, it gets wet, you can't read it later. The wireless system both is a convenience to the guys in the vehicles, they don't have to get out. It's also more accurate because it's reading that information right off of the meter.
Electronically.
Electronically, correct. There has been discussion about, once we're able to upgrade sufficient quantities of the meters to wireless, and that is an expensive prospect, moving to a system where the system could be essentially listening to those devices in real time. And so if you think about, like, they're internet connected basically, so that you could get a reading, someone could come into the water and utility billing department, they can't do this currently, they could come in the future, ask what their reading is, and they could literally pull it up right there at the counter. We're not there yet. Part of getting there is upgrading these older meters that are not wirelessly capable. I believe the meters we've been purchasing are by a company called Badger. They're an industry standard. I would assume that we would purchase more of those. We're not gonna go purchase something that doesn't work with our current hardware. And if we have hardware that's not working, as you suggested, maybe there's a transmitter receiver that's not working, this could potentially allow us to replace that equipment. So the goal here would be to spend $300,000 on upgrades to our water meter system, whether that's wireless meters at the residence or business, receivers for vehicles, transmitters. We'll spend that $300,000 on those things so that we can be more efficient, more accurate in our data collection.
Okay, in the process of doing that, now you need to pick an area to do it in, because this is what you're up against. The light company. You remember when they started their process, that they didn't have to no longer go out to read the meters? The gas company, Atmos, they did the same thing. No one had to go out and read the meter. So it's every meter in Hammond. The light company also got every meter in Hammond. So if you're gonna start this process, you need to look at everything down the road what we're up against. So you just can't go and do 15 meters and stop, because it's not fair to everybody. So if you do the 15 meters, you might well do them downtown, because we talk about the old buildings, and that's what it sounds like. So when you're saying buildings, sit there and say where the buildings are located, because in my area, and I used to read water meters, that's how I know this here. In my area, the water meters pretty much in the front of the house, on side of the house. And so most of them basically about 10 feet off the road, most of them. So, but like I said, I know that we got transmitters that can receive it in some of my rental property, but yet I know it's broke. So will I get it? Will Steve get it? Will Kip get it? So we need to be more specific when we saying these things and kind of break it down where we'll know exactly what's what. Now, I'm not against the grant, but the grant is not enough money. I know this, so altogether, you're looking at about $2 million.
For the entire system, yeah.
That's right.
That's about right, yeah.
Yes,
So this will get us somewhere down the road, but not all the way down the road. And then we can certainly come back to the council, as Councilwoman suggested, we will be coming back to make these purchases. If there's a desire to maybe distribute the meters across the districts, I think what we'll do is start with identifying where our oldest meters are, where our problem meters are, present that to the council. If you agree that let's focus on that, makes sense, we'll do that. If you want to see it distributed more equally among the 5 districts, we can look at doing it that way. This is just to accept the money so we can get that process started.
all right, thank you.
Anyone else? Pleasure of the council.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Divatario.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilman Wells. Councilman Wells.
Yeah, I heard you. I'm still thinking about it. Aye.
Councilman Andrews.
Aye.
Councilman Leon.
Aye.
Resolution number 15.
A resolution, one, accepting a $305 appropriation from the state of Louisiana for new hangar construction at Hammond North Shore Regional Airport, and 2, authorizing the mayor or his designee to complete and sign related documents. There is no match requirement. Charles?
This is a project that we've been trying to implement for several years. We were very fortunate in having a legislator approach us with a potential to get additional funds. If this is approved tonight, the plan will be to add these funds to existing funds we have. They'll give us a budget of around $750,000 that we believe, in speaking with our engineer, that will be enough to purchase or construct, rather, up to 5 hangars. We would bid this out as a base bid for 3 hangars with 2 additive alternates of 1 hangar each in case the bids come in high. But right now, the pricing seems to be where it needs to be for us to build 5 hangars. And these would be city-owned hangars that the city could rent, and the revenue would go into the airport's budget for maintenance, et cetera.
Okay. Anyone from the public on this item? Anyone from the council have any questions? I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilman Leon? Councilman Wells?
Aye.
Resolution number 16.
A resolution, one, accepting a $350,000 appropriation from the state of Louisiana for downtown street and drainage improvements, and 2, authorizing the mayor or his designee to complete and sign related documents. There is no match requirement. Charles?
This is another appropriation, as it says. Again, we were fortunate to have some legislators approach us with an opportunity to get us some money. This is a project where we would certainly be talking with the council, with the Downtown Development District, with the Historic District Commission about how best to use these dollars. There have been a number of different ideas and projects that have been suggested, from drainage improvements to street improvements to sidewalks and landscaping and lighting. So any and all of that could be eligible under this. There's no match requirement. Again, the idea would be to come up with a $350,000 project and have this completely funded.
Anyone from the public have any questions on this item?
What about the neighborhoods? The canal, the ditches. Y'all councilmen, y'all not doing the job. Y'all not clean. Y'all not going in neighborhoods, cleaning these ditches out. the last storm hit, a lot of people, homes got messed up. Y'all talking about money. Do the city have free grants? You got people living in their house right now, homeowners, don't have no money to fix their house up. Do y'all have free grants? Y'all talking about doing this, doing that. What about helping people in Hammond, Louisiana? What about cleaning them canals out? I have property on 703 North James Drive. I've been constantly telling y'all my canal need to be cleaned out. No one came. The mayor said he was gonna clean it out. One of y'all said y'all was gonna come clean up. When the storm hit a couple years ago, most every homeowner in the neighborhood, the house got messed up, water got in. They walking in water, snakes and everything. What are y'all gonna do about that? Go to the neighborhood. Y'all counseling. Y'all required to go to the neighborhood. You got abandoned houses. They bringing drugs in them. You got rats running in them. You got all kinds of, what about these abandoned houses? Y'all need to do something about Hammond, Louisiana. Y'all talking about bringing money, trying to help downtown. Yes, downtown need to be helped, but what about the abandoned neighborhood? Y'all talking about the Hammond is beautified. How it's beautified? When you go in the neighborhood, it's look like a dump. When I moved to Texas, you young lady came and broke in my house, took everything from me and stuff like that. When I go to court, what they did, they let her left. Y'all got to get on the board. Y'all ain't doing nothing. The judge, none of y'all doing it. Y'all get paid, but y'all not doing nothing y'all said to do.
Anyone else?
Yes, I agree with her. Charles, since somebody running to you and showing you how to get all these free grants, what about going in the neighborhood? I agree with her 100%. And you know what? Yeah, you got good reason to be quiet. She came up here and said the same thing before about the ditches, about the canals. Yeah, it's in a neighborhood that we're not pleased with, but it need to be taken care of. I agree with her.
What was the address? I caught part of
So
it.
the one she's talking about in a lot of the canals are drainage district ditches.
Right.
I'll send you my email chain going back from 2022, trying to get,
And I've sent requests in as well.
They're supposed to have a schedule on all that. They're doing certain sections at a time, but I don't know if you can get an update on where they at with that.
If you can send me your email threads to the Drainage District, I can definitely follow up with that. There's also, of course, funds that are put into our capital improvement budget every year. We have a 5-year capital improvement budget. Those funds are there for sidewalk improvements, drainage improvements, sewer improvements.
But those big canals, they cost a good bit of money, and they already got the grants supposedly for that, to get all those cleans that run
Right.
through the city of
The
Hammond. Those big
larger,
canals.
the larger canals are often the drainage districts, but we do work with the drainage district in trying to target, which canals get cleaned. So yes, please send me your email threads if you've had communication with the drainage district and are still waiting for a response.
my email thread that you're gonna get is just us in the city determining it was the drainage district. And then that area got redistricted to KIP, so I think KIP has some too.
And the issue is that you clean the ditch and the canal is not working, it's still
Yeah.
Don't
not
really
gonna
matter.
help at all. It's defeating the purpose. But again, it's been reported.
Well, I think what she looking for, and I'm gonna say it again, I agree with her 100%. Let's get some of that grant money. See all them people, how they contacting you? Yeah, that's why you need to ride out and look at the community. All of us ride downtown. I agree with her. We need to ride in the community and see these ditches. We call it drainage. Look at these drainage. What you call them big ditches. We call them canals. Yes, they do need to be clean. Yes, and she ain't just not saying this here. All this here started with Ida. And so here it is brought up again. And I'm gonna tell you, just in case we don't know, that CEO got shot. We're dealing with mental people all the time, not just in New York, in Hammond, Louisiana. People need help, people crying. They're gonna stop crying. And then it's gonna be too late. Help these people when they crying to you. Reach out to them, talk to them. Everybody need help. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I just want to kind of touch bases on what Councilman Wells is saying as well. Each district, what I have noticed is the communities, as in the residential areas, there is a lot of blighted housing. And with that housing comes infestations. We also have plumbing issues because of the blighted housing. What I've found out is because they're not being cut down, the plumbing is getting backed up and it affects the community plumbing. We also have drainage issues because one side is ditches, one side is actual drainage. They're not getting cut. It's up to the community. We got old people who can't cut their yards, can't afford someone to come cut that grass. So the ditches are getting built up from these blighted houses. They get stopped up. So then now you're getting backed up into a house that is actually lived in. So these are the problems that the community is facing. We can't take care of every yard. We can't cut the city's grass. I literally have watched one house yard not get cut in 6 years. Unless I cut it. That is not good. We have to imply that you all as our councilmen, there's not one of you, not one that is responsible. You as a whole need to come talk to us and not wait on us to come talk to you. Because there are things outside of downtown Hammond that are really hurting us. Downtown is beautiful. Downtown is thriving. But we cannot live like this anymore. We really need y'all help inside our communities. So that's all I really want to say. Get out, talk to your people.
Us, as city councilmen, we budget money, we put things there in place for the administration to put forth and actually deliver to the community. So therefore, we, as councilmen, give them and aid them to put forth what needs to be done. Prime example, the blighted property she mentioned, I think it's probably been about 2.5 years since we've had any houses come present to us. We budget every year as a council $75,000 a year to get this done. We don't go out there and tear down the houses ourselves. We let them have the money. They're supposed to come to us and present to us the houses that are on the list. Haven't had one in about 2.5 years. So, I mean, that's Charles May can give us you can give us an update. Who's on the list right now?
I've actually asked code enforcement about that because that question came up at a recent council meeting. My understanding is what the code enforcement division's been trying to do is work with the homeowners, and it's been having success with homeowners in getting them to either repair or remove their homes themselves. I mentioned to the current supervisor of code enforcement that this council is going to want to see a demolition property list. And so he's working on that. So hopefully next year, early next year, in the next council meeting, we'll be able to present a list of blighted properties, properties that are damaged, that meet the requirements for demolition. The other thing that happens with that, of course, is that we have to do our due diligence as a city to notify the property owner. Oftentimes, these blighted properties they're not just one owner. It's multiple owners over multiple generations. That can take some time to go through the proper notifications, but we certainly can put a list of properties together. If there are properties in your districts that you are aware of that we're not addressing, send those to me. I'll get those to code enforcement. We'll make sure that they get on the list.
Can you send us the working list we have right now currently this week? Because we should have a working list right now, I'd imagine, with all the houses out there that are like that. And, I know it takes time working with the homeowners, but some of these houses have been there for probably 10 plus years. So, at some point we got to figure it out.
I'll ask them to get that to you by Friday. They're actually in training today and tomorrow, so they'll be back on Thursday. I'll ask them if they can get that list to you to me so I can get it to you by Friday.
Thank you.
The process of doing all this here, Charles, I'm so glad she brought it up. Because just today I've been going back and forth with myself. I see we done got vehicles for the police department again and again and again. And I'm gonna bring it up again. I would like to get a city vehicle with a city logo, with a yellow light, with a tracking device. I like for the city councilmen to have it. So I got houses I need to go to right now, but I'm afraid to go to them because I'm walking up to them with dreads in my hair. I'm talking about a little city logo on my shirt. That ain't gonna get it this day and time. I don't want nobody at my house I don't know. And I'm saying this here, the city councilman, all of them might not need it. I need somebody to take me around to these houses so I can talk to the people myself. I'm afraid to go to their houses right now with so much going on in the world. I brought it up before, but definitely, I need a vehicle that the city can pay for the gas, that somebody can even drive me to go to these houses and talk to some of these clients in the area about different things that's going on and stuff. I'm not going to no bandit house. I'm not going to a house full of people. But it's definitely, we have to look out for the city councilmen as well as the people when we go into their houses. I would like to even get an intercom on there if I can let them know, just like when the police come to your house, come on out. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, Charles, they should have a pretty good list to be working from, because as Councilman DeVittoria has stated, it's been at least 2 years plus. And I know the last demo that came before us was a building.
Yes, it's been a while ago.
Yeah, that was the last. Yeah, that was the last demo I know. And
before that, it was the one at Murray Park, which was our city building.
Right.
So it hadn't
right,
been residential.
it hasn't been anything residential.
We'll get
Long
you a list.
time.
We'll get you a list.
When are they starting on that, actually, on that building, Charles? When they starting on that building downtown?
Right here?
Yeah. I think we approved it.
It's been approved. I need to check with Jan. I think there's been some delays because of weather.
Oh, okay.
We held off because the Brews Art Fest was there, and then I think there was been some delays related to weather. So I'll get with Jan and figure out. We want to get it demoed sooner than later.
I'm sorry, I just have one quick. Can you all tell me what is the process of reporting a blighted house? And is there a time limit for a owner to be notified before it's put on the list? Is that public record? That's what I wanted to know.
Call City Hall, probably City Hall.
Andre know how to do it.
You can actually contact, if a member of the public has identified a blighted property, if there's grass that's overgrowing, if the ditch needs to be mowed, I would start with our code enforcement division. Their contact information, Joey Malazzo's contact information is under the building department's webpage. Call him, email him, maybe easier to email him, particularly if you have photographs, that's helpful. And that way they can go out. There's 3 members of that department or division. They go out every day. If they have reports, they go out specifically to those locations. If they don't have reports, they actually do patrols. Now, they don't patrol the entire city every day, but they'll pick an area to patrol. So reports from the public are very helpful because, as I mentioned earlier, we have about 8,000 properties throughout the city. So being able to get a report from a resident that says, hey, this grass hasn't been cut, this ditch is overflowing, there's an odor, whatever it might be, it allows us to target that location and try to address it.
That's what I need to know. Thank you.
Ms. Turner, when you do call them, let them know what district you live in, because each district has someone assigned to that area.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
The city also has a code enforcement department complaint form on the website. You really got to know where you're looking for it. I had a resident who filled this out and submitted it before, so I don't know how much.
So it's on the city's website?
Yeah.
Under code enforcement? Okay.
If you go under, no, it's actually like all the way, if you look under pay and apply, it's like a complaint, I know.
I would say just call or send an email to Joey Malazzo.
Okay,
Yeah.
I can do that.
And if you can't find Joey Malazzo's contact information, send an email to me, and I'll talk to Joey.
Mr. Dangerfield.
Hello. Ronald Dangerfield, 314 Whooper Dangerfield Drive. Did I hear you say that you get money every year for sidewalks improvements?
Generally speaking, in the budget every year, there is some sidewalk improvement project. And what we typically do is when we do drainage work, we cover the ditches with culverts, we culvert the ditches and we put a sidewalk over it. So it's a two-in-one type project.
It used to be 25,000, I think. I think we bumped it to 40,000, I think, a year that they have budgeted for sidewalk repairs. Now, yeah.
I got plenty of sidewalks in my neighborhood.
Oh, yeah, they probably haven't been repaired,
They
have
need
they?
to be repaired.
Yeah.
Believe me, it's almost like walking in water. I walk all the time.
I agree with you.
We need some of
And
this.
some of the ones
we
you
need
talking
some of that
about,
money.
Mr. Dangerfield, when you done talked about, I've turned that list in several times. Even to
Yeah,
get the one extended to the point where we talked about from church to,
I appreciate
Yeah.
that. That was straight up right on.
yeah.
You know what I mean? But in some of the older parts of the neighborhood, the sidewalks, look, they really be repaired.
Yeah, somebody gonna get hurt on them, I agree.
Yeah, yeah. And then on this property that we discussed, I got it looking like my yard now. And I like a clean yard. And we do have problems with blighted property. You know, people won't cut the grass. To me, I can't go along with that concept, why they won't cut their grass. But if we get it reported, code enforcement, I think they might come out and help us. Now, I got a drainage ditch side my property that the city put in. Who put it in? The city put this ditch in. And when it floods in my neighborhood, that ditch takes that water out to the canal. But it do need to be maintained. It's on private property. But the city put it in. What shall I do?
What district you in?
I maintains it now.
Oh, he's in your district? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I would assume that the streets department, our drainage work is done through our streets department. So I'm assuming that the streets department would have put the ditch in. Was there a servitude agreement or is it in right of way?
The ditch was put in before I was born.
Yeah. it's-
Oh, okay.
they're so old that
It's
they're-
an old ditch,
I have a
okay.
couple of.
I don't know.
Maybe, did you talk to the department head? Who's the department head of that?
Robert Williams.
Right, have you
Robert
talked to Robert Williams? I think he's the head over there, did he?
Well, I talked to another little guy that his name was Robert, but I think he just come back to work for y'all.
Morgan.
Might have been
Robert Morgan.
And the way I got it was, hey, look, it's over there on private property and we ain't doing nothing to it. So, but I keep it maintained. But I'm getting old, I need help. You see what I'm saying? So, maybe y'all can come with somebody that can help me with that.
If the city put it in, so they should
And
they should be maintaining.
The property that I'm maintaining now, it's almost landlocked, really, because there's no driveway in there. Yeah, I gotta ask permission from one of the neighbors to go cut the grass. And the people in the back, they bought it, I don't know who bought it, but I go through there. I don't wanna come out of my pocket right now and put a driveway in there till I get proper ownership.
We have a few,
Somebody need to tell me how.
I
to
have
get
a
the-
few different places in the city. I know of two in my district where something's so old, nobody has the right to it. One of them, we don't even know who owns it. The city has to have a legal right-of-way or servitude in order to maintain something, to legally be on it. So we gotta figure that out. If you own it, you're gonna grant us a servitude. If you don't own it, we gotta find the owners, they can grant a servitude.
What, if I
That's
own
how
it?
you, that's
If
how you
I
solve
own it-
that.
If I own it, oh, we can get it did. I'll give you permission to come on it
Right.
anytime. Can we expect some of this sidewalk, work done, Councilman? Thank you.
So we need to find out about that particular piece of property.
Talk to Chuck.
Yeah.
I had one like that by Clark Park. Talk to Chuck.
It's not hard to figure it out. That's all y'all need is his address, and let someone give you the right of way to go on the property and clean it. So it's nothing hard to do.
Resolution number 16. Right, I'm going back to it. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilman Wells?
Aye.
Councilman Leon?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Resolution number 17.
A resolution, one, accepting a $50,000 appropriation from the state of Louisiana for equipment for the Hammond Police Department, and two, authorizing the mayor and his designee to complete and sign related documents. There is no match requirement. Charles Barsher.
This is the last of the appropriations, $50,000 to the police department to purchase equipment. In talking with the chief, there are a few ideas for this. Radio equipment, of course, is always at the top of the list. They are actively working also on potentially acquiring a surplus command center, which is something that I know the chief has been working on for a while. So this money could go to renovating that, upgrading the equipment in that vehicle. The appropriation is not specific to the type of equipment, only that it be for the police department.
Anyone have any questions on this item? Pleasure of the council.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Wells?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilman Leon?
Aye.
Resolution number 18.
A resolution, one, accepting $16,810 grant from the Ed Bourne Memorial Justice Assistant Grant Program to purchase portable radios for the Hammond Police Department, and two, authorizing the mayor and his designee to complete and sign related documents. There is no match requirements. Charles Barsher.
This is an actual grant application that we presented to the council some time ago. This is the federal Burn Drag Award. We would be using this to purchase radios for the police department. I think this would be our fourth or fifth round of radio purchases. We're kind of closing in on the total number we need to purchase. We're thinking we'll be able to purchase between 9 and 10 radios with these funds. There's a possibility I will be coming back to the council at the January 14th meeting for the state version of this, which is a little bit less money. So that'll be our next couple of rounds of purchases of radios.
So Charles, are these radios connected to the body cam?
No,
No, it's
these
just a
these are the
flat
actual
radio.
radios
Flat
that,
radio, okay.
that they communicate, to other officers. The radios that they have, the portable radios they have, the ones they wear on their hip, and a lot of them have the speaker mic on their shoulder. Most of those radios were purchased after Hurricane Katrina with Department of Homeland Security funds. So they're approaching, 20 years old almost. They're, 17 years old at this point, I think, if I did the math in my head right. So they're no longer supported by the manufacturer. Parts are really hard to get by. Even third-party parts are difficult. So we've been steadily replacing those older radios with new radios, somewhere between 10, 15, 20 radios at a time.
While we're on that topic, I wanted to ask about the GPS systems. How y'all coming along with the GPSs on the cars? That
I know, I believe Rick was here from IT proposing the agreements. I can't tell you for sure where we are in implementing that, but I know it's in process.
Can you add that to the list?
I can add that to the list, yes, sir.
Anyone else on this item? Pleasure of the council.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Leon?
Aye.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilman Wells?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Resolution number 19.
Approval of budget change form 25-01, merging remaining budget from a FY 2022 appropriation to Hyde, number 51 lift station, and Force Main, excuse me, improvements, project number 616-12402, and DDD sewer repairs, project 616-12512. Jay Pittman.
Good evening, council. What we have before you is a approval of the budget change form 25-01. What this does is move some funds from a previous allocation to two projects that, one was previously budgeted and one was related to a request to the DDD building for some sewer repairs there. So we're looking for y'all's approval to move those funds to be able to complete those projects.
What's going on with the DDD?
As I understand, they have some bathrooms, and it's some old or aging sewer. And every time they have an event downtown, or they have backups there. From what the Water and Sewer Department has told me is that prior to the event, they have to go and jet the line, and then post the event, they have to jet the line. And I think it's all related just to aging infrastructure there. So they've had some backups and issues there that we're trying to address.
So are they still using the old bathrooms? Because I know they got new bathrooms, huh?
I don't know about the new ones. This is related to some older area.
You got somebody.
It's the new ones.
The new ones?
The ones giving trouble. So whenever they did it, there's something going on where the drain, it's not working, they keep backing up. So the new ones have an opposite.
So we're addressing those concerns.
I think if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, is that the old sewer infrastructure that the new restrooms are using, right? We didn't go in and replace all of the infrastructure. It's actually running in the wrong direction. Like it's a gravity system, right? So you've got to have a high point to flow to a low point, and over there, it seems like over the time, things have settled and it's the other way. So whenever there's a major rain event, it seems like it's flowing back instead of flowing out.
So the new ones weren't installed and having
Tying into
issues?
existing infrastructure.
They tied into
Okay.
existing infrastructure. I don't think we knew at the time how bad the issue was.
Because you never had that volume of people using two bathrooms, because they didn't exist before. It's like every weekend, they have the farmer's market, yeah.
Correct.
That's right, and like I said, Water and Sewer Department says they go prior to and post the events, and sometimes during, so we're hoping to address, we'll address those issues with this project.
How much we talk about transferring? Is it 50,000?
Yes, sir.
And that's coming out of?
It was a previous appropriation under fiscal year '22 for concrete parking. The appropriations there got addressed either through grant projects or some sort of, either got coupled or partnered up with either a drainage project or a paving project.
Concrete parking for what? Was that for DDD stuff or
That was the one that they were gonna try and do the parking lot by the Wong's,
Yep, and then
State
that
Street,
got-
and they couldn't because of the railroad.
That's right, and then there were some, two parks that were thrown in there as well, and those got accomplished under other projects or via other grants. So those funds were there.
Anyone else have any questions on this item? Pleasure of the council.
Motion to approve?
Well, hold up. I'm not finished.
Okay.
Yeah, we
Gotta
just
be
talking
quick.
about.
Gotta be
I
quick.
see that. Okay, let's go up to the first one. The changes on the first one.
Yes, so that's
HAEIDD,
Heidi.
Heidi, yeah, what it said?
That's the,
Should be in District 3.
yes, sir, that's on, there's a lift station on High Park Boulevard that services High Park Boulevard. And what that does now, it's a lift station improvement project that we've coupled with some ARPA funds. And so that lift station currently pumps up the Airport Road corridor to the Airport Road lift station and kind of comes around through the loop there, down to the Chevron lift station. And what the intent of that project is to remove that system and pump it directly to a pump station so that we're not adding more sewer downstream to other lift stations. So we're going to remove that sewer flow and put it into one of the Hanson Street lift station, which is capable and designed to handle larger flows. So we're going to remove that flow and put it into a lift station that's capable of handling it.
So this the one down there by the Chevron? Which one is it?
No, so this Heidi is on High Park Boulevard, about
Okay.
halfway down on the south side of High Park Boulevard.
150,000.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And we have a subsequent item, as you'll see, item 20, for the award of that job tonight.
Okay. Yeah, because, you know, whenever we talk about sewer, it always get my attention, because why you here? because I know we've been talking on the phone, we've been missing one another too. On White Street, the entire White Street, and I asked for the cameras to go look through the pipe. White Street is having a lot of sewer issues. So did they ever shoot the cameras down on White Street?
I'll have to check for you, Councilman.
Okay. Yeah, because, I mean, they got a lot of sewer issues on the entire White Street. Having a lot of bag up sewer, even when it's not raining. So I was pretty much scared down to my phone these last couple of days because I know it was raining. I gotta get my phone cut back on too, Miss Lisa.
You finished?
Yes, sir, I'm finished.
I wanted to ask a couple things while we're talking about that is Robin Hood Drive. I think it's, let's see, Robin Hood Drive. I brought it up to Jay a little while back this week whenever I talked with him and Charles. This is for you as well. They had a new building being built in the back over there, the dance studio. They're having sewer smells coming out of there. There's 3 buildings in a row back there where Robin Hood Drive is. And it's pretty foul smells. So brought it up. I just want to make sure that I can get an update on if it's city related, if it's the sewer station related. I know I discussed it with Jay a little bit, and I don't know if Guy knows about it, but I wanted to make sure that we kind of get something going on over there. That's a new building, so I wouldn't think it would be with that building, but I think 2 of them connected to them has the same real strong smell inside as well coming in. So I just wanted to make sure you put a note on that and get that where it needs to go. And then also Brandy Lane, the new drainage that was installed on Brandy Lane in the back, the drain out, the lines have all sinkholes in them. I brought it up to Jay a while back. Did you ever get anywhere with that? Because I emailed the city as well, and nobody's came out there or even responded to the email.
And you'd given me a contact number.
Yes.
And I'd reached out and
He didn't answer maybe. He might have been offshore, whatnot, yeah.
my number, you know, it's.
Yeah, but they're getting worse, and they're all that new line that was put in the drain out on Brandy Lane.
Okay.
And I sent an email out, I think last week or the week before, and hadn't received anything back.
So this is subsurface drainage?
Subsurface drain that was a right of way that was given to put it all in to drain out the cul-de-sac on Brandy Lane. Well, that whole new line keeps sinking in about 5 or 6 spots down the line, sinkholes.
Do you remember who, well, you can tell me after the meeting, but do you remember who you sent that email to?
Probably to Dory and Robert Williams, probably.
Okay.
And
I'll
then,
follow up
I
that.
might have added somebody else. I don't know if I might have added Chuck too to that one too. I might have added Chuck to that one. Not that, I mean, I'm sure it's the city's responsibility now, but I added Chuck because I figured, he was affiliated with the project, so he'd be able to help y'all out, I guess, figure out what needs to be done.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it's been going on for several months now, so I was trying to get that addressed. Thank you.
We have a motion, we just need a second. We have a motion, we just need a second.
I thought Steve seconded.
Motion,
You
made the motion.
Oh, I'm sorry, second.
Councilman Divatario?
Aye.
Councilman Wells?
Aye.
Councilman Leon? Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye. Resolution number 19,
Number 20,
I'm sorry, 20.
Don't go backwards.
ratify and award, a resolution to ratify and award bids received on 5/9/2024 for Hyde Lift Station and Force Main improvements FY 2024, project number 616-12402. Jay Pittman.
Yes, this is pertaining to Councilman Wells' Heidi Lift Station there on High Park. We took bids back in May of this year, and the contractor has graciously extended his bid prices in hopes that we were going to receive some grant funding to maybe offset some of the, to cover some of the overage there. And like I said, they've extended their bid prices, and we were able to utilize some remaining ARPA funds there to get to complete this project. And so we're actually, with y'all's previous approval of that item, we'll be able to ratify an award to NCMC LLC of Baton Rouge in the amount of $2,957,000 for Heidi Lift Station Force Main Improvements FY24.
Anyone from the public have any questions on this item? Anyone from the council?
Yeah, explain this here to me, Mr. J,
Yes, sir.
please. What's going on right here? Because I'm looking at the amount of money. Yeah, explain it to me, please.
Yeah, 4 bidders. We had a project budget of around 2.2. And as you can see, the low bid there was 2.9. It's simple as that. We were able to utilize some of the funds that y'all just appropriated, plus some remaining grant funds, ARPA funds, and able to get up to the 2.957 in order to complete the project.
How much the grant funds was?
I think we had,
Part of the issue was we around the time these bids came in, we were applying for grant dollars through the Punch Green Restoration Program. We did not receive the grant dollars for this project. However, through the water sector program, which we approved, the council approved around this time last year, I think, we were able to reserve some of our ARPA funds that we received during COVID. We were able to reserve about $1 million in ARPA funds because we got that $5 million water sector program grant. So recognizing that, we saw an opportunity to move this project forward with those ARPA funds to make it whole, to make up that difference of about $700,000.
thank you, Charles.
So the city had to pay the rest.
The ARPA funds are paying the balance.
And we'd had previously some lift station appropriations for airport and another lift station in that area, and so we were able to use those appropriations and address the needs of getting this flow out of that system by upgrading Heidi.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Just a random question. How long would some of that project that size go on for? Is that
About 180 days, and we usually give them a little bit of lead time because, as y'all probably, with everything, COVID, supply chain demand, that type of stuff, hurricanes really impact pipe production, so we try to adjust and help and work with the contractors as far as delivery times for materials. So it just depends on, in the time of year they run certain types of pipe. That's more of a contractor world than it is mine, but we try to stay abreast with some of that. That way we can properly allocate the right contract times for these projects.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions on this item? Pleasure of the council.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Councilman Divatario?
aye?
Councilman Leon?
Aye.
Councilman Wells?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilman Andrews?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.
Item number 21.
Execution of agreement with Sarton Rouche Trial Lawyers to conduct investigation of the building department as approved on 11/19/2024. An opportunity for public question and comments. Attorney present at meeting.
Yeah, Barry's here. This is just starts off with the concerns that in the building permit office with the deceased building official signature coming through on a permit that was notified several times beforehand that there was an issue, and it continued to progress. It's pretty much, it's been going on for a while, really. There have been many issues with that department and occupational license since I've been up here, time in and time out, and it just, continues to get worse, and here we are with that, and that's where it all started, and really, everything's been voted on to move forward with everything, and just really waiting on, the council president really to sign off on an agreement, really to move forward in hiring an attorney to conduct, some legal work that's needed. And that's kind of where we're here at tonight,
We're back here tonight to present to the council again, take any questions you may have. We submitted kind of a memorandum to you.
Can you speak a little bit into the mic? Yeah, that thing's a little low. So, is it working?
We had submitted a memorandum to the council, like, I think it was last week. I emailed it to all the council members, just explaining our position as to why it's our belief the council did actually open an investigation into the building department when you held the vote in August to do that. It was a unanimous vote, and the city charter and the municipal code it's pretty much, it boils down to the what, the why, and the how. The what, your only limits on what you can investigate are found in section 220 of your charter, and it says the council can investigate pretty much any city business, any body's conduct that's related to city business. So you can't open an investigation into international affairs, but you can open investigations into city business. Then it says the why, and that's the purpose of your investigation. You have to have a specified purpose. That's in section 221 of your charter, and it's repeated in part of the how section, which is 223 and 224. 223 just talks about how you open an investigation. And it says a council vote is required, and it specifies that you need a supermajority of the council. You need at least 2/3 of the council. So in this case, at least 4 votes to open an investigation. But all it says is you have to have identified what you're going to investigate and why. In this case, it was the building department, and because there are permits being signed off on by a dead man. So that's a pretty good why, and you gave your what. The how is the scope. The how hasn't been defined. It was made clear at the time y'all passed the resolution that the scope would be defined later, but that can be done by simple majority. It does not have to be supermajority votes for the day-to-day operations of any investigation. And actually, 224 of your municipal code kind of makes the point in its first paragraph. I think it's subparagraph A. It says authority, and it's talking about subpoenaing witnesses and documents. And it says that the council or any subcommittee thereof can subpoena witnesses and documents. Subcommittees of the council aren't going to be a supermajority, but they can subpoena witnesses and documents. They pick the particular people, the scope, the how. 3 people can do that on a council of 5. Y'all have already done that. You laid out your scope in your October meeting. It was voted on. 3 of y'all approved it, so you have your scope. We tracked our initial proposal based on that scoping resolution. Came up at the meeting we attended that the council had been advised, and it was put into the meetings, the minute meeting notes, that the vote had failed. And it only said the vote had failed because it didn't pass by supermajority. And that's just legally incorrect. Both of those votes passed. So you've opened an investigation, you passed the scope, and you voted to hire us. The president just needs to sign off on the contract, and we can get to work without any more delays. Anybody have any?
Yeah, I have a question. So what Andre been telling us, so have Andre been right or wrong?
He's wrong.
According to his interpretation.
Well, okay.
It's scope versus purpose. He's clearly said that the reason he believes that the vote to open the investigation was deficient and it hasn't been opened is that the council failed to define the scope.
I think the council didn't define a specified purpose, which is what's required.
It's the scope, not the specified purpose. And if you read the resolution, the specified purpose was to investigate the building department, specifically the permits issued thereby.
So I can argue with you till I'm blue in the face.
Did you vote for an investigation with no reason in mind?
Perfect. Thank you for saying that. What I would like to propose, because I think it's very clear, not all of us unanimously are on board with the reason for this investigation. You just said that we passed an investigation into the building department to investigate why a dead man's signature was on the permit. Hold on, I didn't vote that. That's not what my purpose was. It was very clear. My purpose And why I voted was because Kip said, we're going to move forward to open an investigation in the next 2 weeks, lay down groundwork, what's done, and how to do it. Sam said, quote, let's talk about the details between now and the next meeting. That, in my mind, was what we said we were going to do. I don't feel like we did that. Hold on. And the time we voted on a scope, I laid out lots of very good reasons why I didn't like where this was headed. So what I'm going to propose.
Scope, but you were in the minority.
I'm not done. What I'm going to propose is let's revote this investigation. Let's make it very clear the will of this council. I mean, I think we're playing games here with semantics and legal. Look, I know you want a job for $400 an hour. This is not right, and it's not what needs to be done. And we're about to get ourselves into legal arguments over something that it's not your job to do until you are properly hired. The other thing is this resolution reads that to execute an agreement with you, I assume that agreement is the engagement agreement that was in the last meeting, which includes the full scope of all the things that I have a problem with. I think everyone for the last 2 months understands what I have a problem with. I think Steve's said what his problem is. I don't think there's a meeting of the minds of 2/3 of the majority of this council. It's not right to the citizens of Hammond. We should just revote it.
Sounds good.
I'm going to say this here, and I mean this here. I'm not revoting nothing. Last time we revoted on the police chief, that was messed up. I'm not revoting nothing. We done already voted, and I'm not revoting nothing. And all the councilmen can remember, that's why the chief still where he at now, because of that revoting. All of us knew the chief is a problem. He's a problem right now, so I'm not revoting nothing.
Let me say this. My signature is going to go on whatever document that comes across this desk. Let's be clear. This lawyer here is making his point of how he feels, of what he read the interpretation to be. Now hear me clearly. Mr. Coutrain has said what he read in that book. This is what I did, and I'm going to stick by what I have done. I went outside and got another attorney to look into this, to advise me on what to do in this situation. And they have advised me to get an opinion from the Attorney General's office, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. So that's where I'm at on that. I'm not signing anything until I get the papers back from the Attorney General.
Kip, have you got the draft yet or anything submitted to the Attorney General yet?
It's been drafted. We got it on the letterhead. It's going to be submitted first thing in the morning.
Will you send it over to me so I can see a copy of it?
Sure thing.
Okay.
Thank you, Kip. I appreciate everything you did. And
no, Devon, let me say this.
Oh.
And I understand totally something needs to be done in the situation. It really does. But that's a legal document, and my name is going on it. You got one. I done worked in the court system before as a bailiff. I understand this, especially in a civil situation. You're going to argue your side, the other attorney's going to argue their side. I'm getting somebody outside to give me an answer. Now watch this. If we ever have to face an issue like this again, whatever answer you get back from the Attorney General, you know how to move if it ever happens again. If they say that this is fine to move forward, then move forward. If they say no, come back and look at something, let's look at it that way. But at least I know that I'm following how I feel in this situation to make sure that it is done right.
The only thing I would ask of you is what happens should the Attorney General refuse to issue any type of advisory opinion? If they take up the question and say, it's not our place to issue an opinion and we neglect or we refuse to do so in this case. You may get a letter back to that effect.
The court of proper jurisdiction should be able to give us that, and that would be the court they meet.
Well, I think he go and pray about it. And once he pray about it, he see what his God tell him, and he go from there. But I appreciate the steps that he done made already. So that's a good thing. But I'm going to say this here, and I didn't hear nothing. You said Andre had been lying to us. And not one time he said that he haven't been lying to us. Now, that's what I heard, and so that's what I'm waiting to hear about.
I'm waiting for somebody to give me a chance to talk.
Oh, I'll be quiet.
So look, I've looked at the memo. I'm not persuaded by it. I mean, I understand it. I think there are parts of the charter that are not addressed that are applicable. The code of ordinances are not applicable because it's in the charter. The charter sets your guidelines. It's pretty simple. It requires a majority vote, a supermajority vote, to open an investigation for a specified purpose. There is no specified purpose in the action by the council. That's my opinion, and that's not going to change. And I'm not going to tell you I'm right 100% of the time, but I'm confident in that opinion. A supermajority vote is required. And if the council wants to get on with it, I agree. You guys come together with an agreed scope that at least four members can agree to, and move forward with that. But I'm telling you, Councilman, it's not a question of lying to anybody. Nobody's lying to nothing. I'm not lying. He's not lying. Nobody here's lying. It's an opinion of what is required. He has an opinion, I have an opinion, and you all apparently are a bit of an impasse. And I think Councilman Andrews is looking for a source to try to get additional information, additional advice on where to go. And that's probably the best next step.
Okay, let me say this here. Okay, now, Andre, you help me if I'm wrong. Now, didn't you say you were gonna send something to the Attorney General? Andre, you're not Andre. Yeah. Did you say you were gonna send something to the Attorney General on this here?
Well, I said I could have, but I didn't, because I look back at it, Councilman. Look, I look back at it, Councilman. I'm very confident in that opinion of a supermajority. And if I'm not going to go ask for Attorney General's opinion unless I am objectively, fairly in doubt that my opinion is not correct. So I didn't do it. It's not necessary. But if Councilman Andrews, now faced with another opinion, conflicting opinion, that would be the next step, one of the next steps that could be taken.
But you said you was gonna do it. And I mean, you shouldn't have said it if you weren't gonna do it. I'm just going by what you said. Now, I might be wrong, but that's what you said that you was gonna do. And so it shouldn't even be to this point now where we at right now. And I appreciate everything Kip did. I appreciate everything he's saying. But you've been advising the city, and you've been advising us. And so you know we have a conflict. You know it's a problem. So if you can sit here and help us out, I sure appreciate if you do your job.
Well, I am doing my job, and I can assist with the Attorney General's opinion. I can provide any information that might be requested.
Oh, Kip went on the outside. He didn't go to the out. He went on the outside, and keep it like that, Kip.
And I did that for a reason.
Thank you.
I did it for a reason.
Barry, you have anything else you want to add to that?
Not really. I mean, we're just going to wait to hear what the Attorney General has to say.
All right, I'm going to say this here. Thank you, Mr. Barrett. Thank you, Mr. Kip. Thank you, Mr. Andre. It's amazing. We talking about Villa West. Lord have mercy. Just think if this would have happened in District 3. Nothing would have been said. We talking about Villa West, a nice community, a clean community. And if you don't see it's a problem that this can happen in Villa West, just imagine the other 4 districts that it could take place in. So we do have a problem.
And what's more troubling to me is that, and concerning, is that it was notified via email, several emails, to look into this spot and stop and really look into it, and then it continued afterwards, progressed with a fake permit with a deceased guy. That's ultimately the worst thing that could ever happen in government, especially whenever you're dealing with protecting the values of the city that you're in. So it's a serious issue, and it's and actually did Charles or Carly, did you get your permits request that you did, the list of the 2 months or so, 3 months of the permits?
Charles and I talked about it. It's forthcoming. They're having some software issues, which I'm fine with.
Okay. I was wondering, I was curious, okay.
There were no commercial or
prime example, another
residential
reason.
new construction permits.
But, all right. There you go, Mike. Thank you.
Okay, Mike Barnholtz, 805 Delmar, Villa West. I've slept over the past couple of months since all this in Villa West started back in August. And October 8th, it basically was coming to a head to where it was going to be fixed, to where the duplex was going to turn back into a single dwelling home. Pictures and/or videos were talked about during the October 8th City Council meeting. I understand that Mr. Miller has gone and checked the house. I don't know if, Sam, if you've seen his statement, or I'm not sure about that. And I'll also go back a little bit further, mentioning that when I first came up here, I was concerned about the problem that precipitated from Villa West. It mushroomed into problems from the airport. So I applaud Kip. I think that's a fantastic idea. And it doesn't really matter. We're not here to point the blame. We're not here to point fingers at Andre or anybody else. We want this thing done right. We want it done honorably, legally, to where we don't have to come back and worry about, I mean, here we are in December. It started month 8. This is month 12. Are we going to finally get this done in month 1 of 25 or 2 of 25? I'm hoping not. Let me just mention one other thing. I think, Devon, you mentioned something a couple of meetings ago, that there was a $50,000 short change of no one knowing what had happened in the city of Hammond?
We ain't gonna say the city of Hammond, we're gonna say in the building permit department.
Okay.
Yes.
Since y'all got the very first portion, that's kind of like old business, but I'm just wondering, has that been found? I mean, $50,000.
And they can't find the permits right now that they've issued. I mean, you think they found that? But I mean, go ahead, yeah.
I can speak to the $50,000 number.
Go ahead.
So the auditors are here, right? They're finishing up our independent audit, as they do every year. There is a report that's generated from the old system that's sent to our accounting system, the old permitting system that's sent to our accounting system. That report seems to have doubled the number of permits. We're not entirely sure why. The auditors, what they did is they traced the actual transactions, what we actually took in, and they matched that with what accounting received, and those numbers appear to match. So at this point, the auditors are fairly confident that the issue was the report that was generated from the old system, which we are not using. That's why we moved. The old system had issues. That's why we moved to the new system. So that's what it appears to be. This will be in the audit report that is presented to the council for approval probably in January or February.
Okay, I can buy that. That sounds good. If I'm not mistaken, I think Mayor Pete had mentioned that Kip had suggested the audit and was possibly already going forward with the audit a couple of meetings ago. Am I right about that, Kip?
Correct.
That should have been done from the very beginning before we even got into the $400 an hour lawyers.
Thank you. Agreed.
I mean, give me a break. I'm retired. I'm not willing to pay $400 an hour when audits could possibly, maybe not necessarily, but could possibly find what the problems are.
I think a little bit more than just an audit when you have
Yeah,
illegal
sure.
permits being signed off on by a dead man. So, I mean, I don't really think that's, an auditor job's gonna look at where the money is, accounting, everything, else, and where they're told to look. And from what I'm told, I wasn't involved in that audit deal, so therefore that would be the administration leading that audit.
But
So, I
you
mean,
know-
so leading the audit administration is the one that's actually have the issues with the permit. So that's kind of like a conflicting issue.
I've seen audits find stuff that really wasn't their job, that they isolated on a problem, and they brought someone else wound up having to take it over. So I think the audit idea was a fantastic idea.
Well, that was part of the scope. That is
Sure.
part of the investigation. That's
Sure.
one layer of it. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it needs to happen with more.
That sounds good. Okay.
Thank you.
I don't have anything else.
And sir, by the way, and I don't know if you know, the city paying more than Andre to be a lawyer. So I'm talking about, I got proof that the city got other lawyers that they paying money to, that they have to pay by the hour. And so the councilmen don't even know nothing about it. And so whenever we hire a lawyer, we always look over to Mr. Andre. But the city dealing with about 5-6 lawyers
Right.
that they actually been paying more than $400 an hour to, that we don't know nothing about. And if they not paying $400 an hour to, they can sit there and make 1 hour go into 4 hours, so that's $400. So let's get it straight on how lawyers get paid.
I've seen there, been there, done that.
Yes.
Know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Hey, I'm Michael Peary.
How you doing?
I'm 903 Route St. Michael in Villa West. I know you guys are probably sick of talking about it and hearing about it, and we're sick of living with it. I know we're talking about concerned about $400 an hour, but how about the money that was spent to demo the parking pad? Where did that come from? And it's just like the failed attempts to get any type of answers. There's no real process laid out. There hasn't really been any follow through. Just there's the corrective action plan, moving forward. It's like we're doing an audit, we're asking opinions, and we're still getting nowhere. And grading our own test isn't going to be helpful for this. We haven't identified any of the failure points. What are we doing next? How are we going to stop this from occurring again? Because this isn't just a Villa West problem or a District 4. This is a bigger problem for all of Hammond. We can't have forged documents. And we had downplay about, it was in the beginning, about a digital signature. It's still a signature, and it was still used. And then the permit wasn't even filled out properly. And how many do we not even know about? It's just, guys, we got to get somewhere. We can't just keep sitting here and talking about the same thing and getting nowhere. This is obnoxious.
Well, ma'am, your tax dollars, the one got that neighborhood cleaned over there, just in case you want to know. That was your tax dollars that the city used to get that problem cleaned over there. So it's the taxpayers' dollars. And thank you for asking that question.
And the only reason why we're having to even look at doing something that's $400 an hour is because it's been allowed to get to this point.
100%, you hit on the head, because it could have been stopped a week or two beforehand if they wouldn't have rushed and sent out a
The
permit.
neighbors
So here we are today.
complain and everything, and now it's just.
No excuse for this.
And we're going to be in January before we know it, and we're still beating the same drum that nobody's listening to. And it's incredibly frustrating.
And the person who signed the paperwork, they still working over there. That's what's so sad about it. They still there to this day. So how many more times that this still gonna take place?
Or how long has it been going on for?
Yep. How many have already been missed? Thank you all.
Thank you.
John Knish, 111 North Magnolia Street. Kip, I just want to thank you for being the balance here. I think that's a very good decision that you're making tonight, so appreciate that. What I do want to, express is that clearly there is either incompetence or foul play, and there's evidently a lot of mistrust in this group. But knowing what's going on, that the fact that we were behind every other parish in the state basically on paying our employees, and we've lost a lot of employees in the mayor's office. I'm gonna, by just an understanding of how business works, when you don't have people there to do the job that are qualified and they're leaving and coming and going, the likelihood is this has nothing to do with anybody doing something on purpose. This was likely a really stupid clerical error. And I think that you guys have a responsibility to watch taxpayer dollars. And my question to you is, I'm seeing a lot of the same attorney faces, the outside attorneys that are hired to come here. How is this vetted? It seems like everybody's got a little skin in the game here, and it's just inappropriate. And I just really wish you guys would pay more attention and work together and not political grandstand for the zone that you're in, and work together for the good of Hammond. So that's all I have to say. So, but that is a true question. How are these faces, that these outside attorneys, how are they chosen? It's just interesting they're always the same ones, that's all.
Stanley Campbell, 8 Fairway View Court. I just wanted to say thank you to you guys, man, for everything that y'all are doing up here. President Kip, I think it's an awesome idea that you came up with to go to the Attorney Generals. Basically, if we came up here and we re-voted this, I think just the impropriety of it, basically, I don't know, it just wouldn't look good, and there would be a lot of conflicts of interest on the backside of it. So I'm just glad that you came up with that idea to actually do it that way. I think it's awesome. Especially being that last time, I mean, there was multiple people that were kind of here that came out to talk about this for the past couple, I'm going to say past couple months. And a lot of them, they had issues with the supermajority issue that came about. That was the first time that I had ever heard it. And I know Mr. Andre, he showed it to me in the charter. And basically, you guys coming up with that idea is the best thing for it.
Good evening. Edwin Renee Soule, 42798 Scarlet Circle, Hammond, Louisiana, 70403. I just want to talk about the process. When I was here last time, you were talking about this auditor or investigator. I had the pleasure to work in the Office of Inspector General. I worked there for 19 years. In the Office of Inspector General, there are two divisions. One is audit, one is investigation. The audit division, financial compliance, program reviews, system surveys. The investigative division, fraud, waste, abuse. From what I'm hearing, in my 19 years in the Office of Inspector General, you have a fraud, waste, and abuse situation in your building department that requires an investigation, not an auditor. There are two different disciplines. And I just want to share that with you. And by the way, who engaged the audit firm, the council or the administration?
Not me, unless Kip, did you do that personally, or?
I sat down and talked with them.
Who wrote the letter engaging the audit firm?
There had been no engagement with them at all.
So we don't have a legal document?
Well, I think what he's
spelling
asking.
out what this audit firm is going to do?
I think what he's referring to the last couple meetings ago, Charles, and I think you, Kip, I think you both said that the auditors are looking at it or whatnot. I remember asking you,
The lady?
were you involved in it? You said, no, I wasn't. So that would mean the council was not a part of it, or at least I wasn't as a council, the
So
administration.
let me rephrase the question. Did the council approve the audit firm that's taking this engagement?
Not
no,
me, no.
No, we have not. It
Okay,
was a-
so if the council didn't approve it, then who did?
It was a conversation with me, with the lady from the audit, on what they can and cannot do. She was going to draft up information for me and get it back to me on that, on what they could and cannot do in this particular situation.
But
So
you're not
n-
answering my question.
no agreement has been made, nothing has been put on the agenda
So
to
there's
vote.
no formal engagement letter,
Not yet.
but yet they're doing the work.
No work is being done because nothing has been approved to do the work.
May I offer a point of clarification? There are two separate things we're talking about. The annual audit was approved by the council. The audit firm was engaged by the council to complete our annual audit.
Okay.
This issue about the building permit came up later.
Yes.
And an introduction between the auditors who were here and Councilman Andrews was made so that Councilman Andrews could speak with the auditors about what they might be able to provide in terms of a special audit of the building department, separate from the annual audit that they're currently performing. Does that clarify it? So they are currently performing an audit of the city, as they do every year.
Correct.
They, if so engaged by the council, at the council's direction, can perform a special audit into the building department of policies, procedures, protocols. Were things done the way they should have been done? Were mistakes made? They can look at specific permits. They can look at a random sample of permits. They can do all of the above. But those decisions rest with the council. Okay,
All
that we did at the city administration was facilitated a conversation, and we've stepped back.
The city facilitated the conversation. Am I correct?
We facilitated introduction. I introduced Councilman Andrews to our senior auditor, the auditor who's performing, the senior audit person.
Okay, and the problem that we're talking about is under the administration's purview.
No, this is an independent audit.
No.
Yes.
The building department, where the problem occur, is under the city's purview, right?
Yes, the building
And the
department.
city facilitated a conversation with the auditor.
Your statement implies that Kip wouldn't be able to do this impartially, or he'd be open to
Not
being
Kip, not Kip.
facilitated however you want.
Not Kip. The auditor, if they're a certified public accountant, has to be above the appearance of a conflict of interest to conduct the audit. That's AICPA rules. See, and Kip wouldn't know this because he's not an auditor. I know it because I'm an auditor. And what I'm sharing with you is process.
He's referencing to the facilitation happened with the city administration to Kip Andrews, the city councilman, which is the one that's
and
under.
therefore you compromise the auditor.
I just want to point out, this is an independent auditor. All that the city administration did was suggest that.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry, sir. I'm not saying that the audit wasn't independent. I'm saying process. You're not hearing me. Process. When the city engaged that conversation, you conflicted the auditor by AICPA rules, because they should be free to scope out their work without any undue conversation or influence.
That is correct. And there
But you
has
didn't
been-
do that.
No,
You
sir.
introduced the auditor to Kip and shared with the auditor, hey, we got a problem in the building department. Can you add on to the annual audit? That's a conflict of interest.
That's not what happened.
You didn't just say that, Charles?
He just said, you just
You're-
said.
Say that.
You're
He didn't say that.
you're implying.
It's outrageous.
You just said you introduced the auditor.
Kip knows him. We've been the same one for 6 years. You already know the lady.
I don't care.
Who know the lady?
I said process, conflict of interest, AICPA rules. The auditor has to be above the appearance of conflict of interest. When he did that, he compromised the audit.
You're saying that there should have been a second auditor totally separate from the one that was here.
Correct. Wait a minute, first of all, you said he's doing the annual audit, correct? So that's fine. The auditor can do the annual audit. And whatever comes out of the annual audit is presented to you. No problem. Okay? No problem with the annual audit. But when the administration, introduced the auditor to Kip to talk about the problem at the building department, now you're influencing the auditor's scope. So how can we rely on what comes out of the auditor's scope in this special audit that you're now saying you're asking him to do, in addition to the annual audit, which brings us back, and I don't care about the fee price, but I'm just talking about process. And you can go to any federal government office of Inspector General, and you will see an audit division, and you will see an investigation division. And the investigation division handles fraud, waste, and abuse. That's what you're dealing with. And you didn't handle it properly. I'm just giving you the facts. Now, you can do what you want. You can continue down this pathway. But I tell you what, whatever this auditor comes out with, I don't know. But I'm just saying the process wasn't handled properly. Thank you.
Charles, so this is the same group that found that $50,000 that was missing?
This is the same, that Kushner LeGrays is the city auditor, the current auditor, the independent auditor who's auditing the city, providing our annual financial report that the council will approve early next year. They are the ones that, as they're doing their audit, they're reviewing reports and they're looking at transactions within our accounting system, cash that was taken in, cash that was recorded. Initially, from what I understand, talking with the auditors, there was a discrepancy between a report that was generated from our old permit system, which we're not using, when it was sent to our accounting system. Their solution to figuring out what was going on was to trace the actual transactions. An independent audit, we're not directing their actions. They follow standard procedures in conducting an independent audit. And so they went and they traced the actual transactions. There was a cash receipt over here that we took in a credit card payment. Where did it show up over here in the accounting system, and does it match? And from what I understand, they were able to resolve the issue as what appears to be to them right now a reporting issue. This will be included in the report that they prepare to the council. The reason I know this is because they're communicating with us. There's information they're asking us for so they can evaluate it for the purposes of the audit. I'll give you an example. When it comes to grants, when we exceed a certain threshold in federal grants, there's what's called a single audit. They select federal grants, and they will ask me, when I was the grants director, for all of our reimbursement requests, all of the checks, all the supporting documentation, all the reporting, contract documents for the grant, for contractors, for engineers. Some grants have labor compliance, where we're making sure that contractors and subcontractors are paying their workers according to essentially a federal minimum wage for their work. We provide all that information to them. They review it, they evaluate it, and they tell us whether we did what we were supposed to do or whether there are issues. That's what ends up in the report. The city in no way influences that. It is an independent audit. That's how we maintain the integrity of the audit. They would lose their licenses as auditors if they were not completely independent. The introduction that we facilitated between Kip and the auditor came out of a conversation when there was that 3-2 vote, and Kip was talking to Andre about what the council could do. I think Andre had suggested during the meeting, do an audit, do a special audit, have an auditor come in and evaluate policies and procedures and protocols, internal controls within the building department. My comment at the time was the auditors are here. Maybe they can do this. I don't know. I'm not going to be party to any conversation. I'm not going to determine the scope of work, but if Kip would like to meet with their senior auditor, I'm happy to set that meeting up. And that's what happened. Whatever is in the agreement letter, if there's an engagement letter that the council says, hey, we want to investigate the building department through the purposes of an audit. I shouldn't use the word investigation. We want to audit the building department. That would be scoped by Councilman Andrews with the rest of the council. The city has no part in what's in that letter of engagement. That would be entirely the discretion of the council. That's, again, how we maintain the integrity of that audit, which would be a separate audit from the annual financial audit that they're conducting now.
Okay, let's go back to the original question. Did they find the $50,000?
My understanding is that the $50,000 discrepancy was a reporting error that they have resolved. There was not $50,000 missing. It was a reporting issue where a report was generating twice as many permits as were actually being processed.
All right, thank you.
Name and address, please.
Dr. Dantzler, 1203 Apple Street.
Speak in the mic, please, sir.
Hammond, Louisiana. Dr. Oscar Dantzler, Jr., 1203 Apple Street, Hammond, Louisiana. Council, I have a problem. I even hate to be here to worry you all today, because I try to stay my distance unjust concerns with the mayor. Y'all already know Chief Bergeron, Chief of Police, and the police officer. And kind of let y'all see the documents there. I don't have to give Mr. Kuche, why he already familiar with what I'm talking about. He's city attorney. What you're looking at here, these documents here, I forwarded twice, certified mail to Chief Bergeron for a criminal report. Identity theft. Envelope IRS tax documents here that IRS sent me back. I was not aware of it. And if you see the request, it say Ashley E. Bass.
Mr. President, let me just say this. This
No,
is
no,
off-
no, let me finish.
No,
No,
Mr.
no,
Gansler,
no,
let me finish
let me
this.
finish.
This is
They-
off the
going-
topic.
Hold up,
Let's just say, this is off the topic.
Yeah,
If
but
we're
I'm
talking about
public-
investigation.
public
building
input
department.
now.
No, it's
No,
not
we
public
haven't
input
got-
on any matter. No,
Item.
Yeah.
And let me say, this is also the subject of federal court litigation, Mr. Dancel, right?
But I have a problem.
No, sir, that's
I
not, you've got to.
filed police reports,
comments
and the
need to be
council should
related
be
to-
aware.
Oh, we still up under an item. We haven't got to,
Okay, all right, okay, I'll wait, okay.
so, back to 21. Would this be, I guess it'd still be considered up under a resolution, because it's not. I would say table this until, my motion would be to table this until I receive that opinion back from the Attorney General's office.
Second.
Councilwoman Gonzalez,
Aye.
Councilman Leon, Councilman Wells,
Aye.
Councilman Divatario,
Aye.
and who did I miss? Councilman Andrews. I'm
Aye.
sorry.
Reports? Is anything from the mayor's office?
The mayor is unfortunately sick, so he couldn't be here tonight. I would like to relay something. This is important for anyone from the public who's watching. And I shared this information with the council, but I want to make sure to do it in this form as well. A few years back, EPA made some changes to their rules and regulations concerning water quality. They are requiring all public water systems, any water system that's operated by a city government like ours, to notify homeowners if we don't know what their service lines are made out of. The service line is the pipe that connects a house or a business, private property, to our water system. Historically, that's not been ours to maintain. That's not ours to install. That's installed by the homeowner or the business when it's constructed, and it's the responsibility of the homeowner or the business owner or the property owner to maintain it. But EPA is saying, even though it's not ours, it's not part of our system, even though we didn't install it, we don't maintain it. If we don't know what it's made out of, because again, we didn't install it, we don't maintain it, we have to alert homeowners of the potential, because it's unknown material, that it could be lead-containing material. I will tell you, and please understand this, we have, I think, about 100 water sampling stations across our city. We do regular sampling of water for quality testing. We have no evidence that there's lead in anywhere in our system. So if anyone out there has received a letter, understand that it's a requirement of EPA that we send these letters out. But I want to underscore there are no indications that we have lead anywhere in our system. The letter provides information that we're required to provide by EPA, and it provides a contact point for our water and sewer department if there are questions or concerns. But again, I want to stress that we have no evidence of lead in our system. The other thing that EPA is requiring us to do is a random sampling of service lines. So we will be doing that in accordance with these new rules to further demonstrate that there are no lead-containing lines in our system. If by chance, I think it's a very remote chance that we find something, we will be removing that and replacing it.
So Charles, what lines have y'all inspected already?
We have done a survey, an inventory of all of the lines. We've not actually done any inspections yet. That's the next phase. So the first phase was to inventory all of the service lines. And like I said earlier tonight, there's about 8,000 of those throughout the city. We sent letters out to all of those individuals. And I think we sent out a total of 7,200 roughly letters, because we know what about 800 or so of those lines are, because they're new construction that would have been required to use non-lead containing materials when they were constructed. Lead was banned, I believe, in 1978. Don't hold me to that, but I think that's correct.
You saying 7,200 lines are pre-1978?
7,200 lines includes lines that are pre-78 and then lines that we just don't know what they're made of. The EPA doesn't necessarily allow us, if it was built in 80 and we're pretty sure it didn't include and contain lead, they don't just let us exclude those. We have to send letters out. So I hope that answered your question. The random sampling phase will happen. We just got confirmation today, actually, from the state that they've reviewed and accepted our inventory. That sets us up now to do the random sampling. They have a certain way that they want to see that done. So that will be starting probably early next year. Okay. And that's just another way to demonstrate that our water is safe. That is a high priority for our water department. We have consistently scored like above A+. We get like bonus points on our water system. So I want to just make sure that everyone understands we don't believe there's any lead in our system. We have no evidence of it. Our water sampling hasn't detected any evidence of it, but we're complying with the EPA rules.
Okay, so Charles, as y'all do these samples, could you make sure that the city councilman get a copy of the information or the ones that y'all sample? Because I'm gonna tell you, just in case, you might know, might not. Flint, Michigan had an issue. Jackson, Mississippi had an issue.
Mm-hmm.
And in the process of you knowing all this here, and I'm not telling you how to do your job, you don't think we ought to start looking for grants to take care of the older people that not able to replace their water lines just in case?
It's a possibility. We've actually discussed that. Guy Palermo, Water and Sewer Superintendent, myself have actually discussed whether we may need to do that. It's a possibility. There are water grants out there. There's actually, we've done Clean Water State revolving fund loans. There's a similar project for water systems. Low interest loans, which allow you to bring in a lot of money to do repairs to your water system. The reason our water system tends not to get as much attention as our sewer system is because our water system's in really good shape, comparatively speaking. Our sewer system, some of those lines date back to the 1920s. The city's old. And so our sewer infrastructure is aging. It is more inclined to failure than some of the water systems.
Okay, just in Greenville Park alone, since you brought up the water, they had a water main to bust over there on Washington Avenue. In the process of that water line busting on Washington Avenue, then you had an issue on Louisa West. You had a water line burst over there on Louisa West. Then on Snowball Street, you had a water line to bust on Snowball Street. Then Green Street, you had a water line. So you had about 6 water lines that actually break over there. And I think that was due to the main. So I don't know if all of them been repaired or not. And talk to some of the homeowners. The water was actually cut off and they wasn't aware of it. I don't know the process of letting them know that they're gonna cut their water off for 1 hour, 2 hours, 6 hours.
In the event of a water main bursting, water problems are much easier to find because if a line bursts, if it ruptures, a lot of times we have issues with fiber companies coming in. You've heard Guy Palermo and others talk about that. They come in, they run fiber and go right through a water line. When they go through a water line, it bursts. You see water coming to the surface. The solution is to shut the water off at the main so that we can repair the issue and then turn the water back on. We do that because we don't want any kind of foreign material entering the line while it's depressured, right? That's how you can contaminate the water system. So there's a process that's involved in shutting the water off, repairing the line, flushing the line, making sure the water is clean before you turn it back on to homeowners and businesses.
Okay, now that we see that they doing the fiber downtown Hammond, we see the orange pipe everywhere. Seem like me not being that smart, seem like I would have somebody to be out there with them so when they bust a water line that the city don't have to pay for it. So let's get that straight. If they actually bust their line, they required to get it fixed. So,
That is I will tell you that is an ongoing conversation. The mayor and I have been talking about it probably at least once, if not twice a week, since I've been director of administration. The issue is that when they're working along federal, state highways, they're working within federal and state right-of-way, and they don't need to notify the city.
no,
Yeah,
I
but-
didn't say notify. I'm talking about, we see where they working at.
Yeah.
Right now, we know where they working at. What I'm saying is, get a city worker and kind of see what's going on. I'm not saying get in their way.
Right.
So if a water line bursts or whatever, if they cut into a line, we'll have an opportunity to get it fixed. Because what I'm saying is, foreign objects getting into the water system. That's how you prevent that.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Well, and I can tell you, when they hit a water line, we know about it very quickly. When they hit a sewer line, we don't always know about it. We don't always learn about that until there's a problem down the road. But we are trying to stay on top of them. We've had a couple of companies that have reached out to us to let us know that they're going to be doing work in the city. We would love that. I mean, even if there isn't a formal, like, approval process because they're not in our right-of-way, just knowing that they're coming, so that we could say, hey, there's water on this side of the street, there's sewer on this side of the street, there's a main over here. That would be really helpful to us. It would be really helpful to them. We'd be able to avoid a lot of issues before they happen.
Yeah, but I'm gonna say this here, and you know this here, well, you might not know. Anybody in construction, know you got to dial this number before you do any digging. We know this, so don't, let's quit making excuses up for people, because guess what? We sitting here fixing something behind somebody we shouldn't have to.
Correct.
So we all know this here, so guess what? When we dialing this number, to see these gas lines, these water lines, these cable lines, that's when we can keep track of what's going on. So that can be prevented,
Yeah, and all those crews have foremans that you could go to, and they're running those lines and communicate with them if something busts or where they're going next. So
The problem now is that we learn about stuff after they've done it, right? That's when, like, they're not coming to us beforehand. They're just going out there with a crew and they start boring. We're trying to get ahead of that. We're trying to find ways that we can at least have them contact the city to let us know they're going to do a boring project for fiber or whatever it might be. So that's an ongoing thing. We're trying to resolve that. We're trying to get ahead of it.
Yeah, I'm saying y'all should know. What's you said, my man, Dottie? What's that number? Who is that they supposed to call?
811, huh?
Huh?
811.
So when they call Dottie, water, gas,
Yeah.
fiber optic. So I'm saying they done let you know, because the city got to go out there and mark the water line. The gas company got to go out there and mark the line. So that's your warning there.
They're not always doing that, unfortunately.
Thank you.
My council report was in Villa West on Delmar Boulevard, coming off Old Baton Rouge Highway. There's a light that's been out there, the first one for a couple months now. Sent it in, I got the response about, it's on the list or whatever, but I'd like that one to kind of jump up a little bit on the list, because it's the entrance to there, and it's real dark in that little area, and there's some elderly people that have been calling me, missing the turns and kind of, different things. So I want to make that kind of a priority. That it's the first one on Delmar, the two lights on Old Baton Rouge Highway, turn off right where the entrance is to light it up so people can see getting off the road. Can you check on that to see kind of when you think they'll get to that one, Charles? Thank you.
I don't know. They back there. So do you talk or wait till they come?
I could talk. This is the problem, my complaint about the police department. I filed several police reports, criminal identity theft reports. Oh, you just don't want the people to know. It's lawsuits that y'all not knowing about, and they paying outside attorneys to defend the Mayor Pete and Bergeron. Y'all aware of that? 2 federal lawsuits I have filed in District of Columbus and also in Baton Rouge. My issue is the city police officer, chief of police, have a mandatory duty, sworn duty, to accept a criminal report that anybody file, especially with the document y'all see right there. The document right there. Ashley Bass.
No, let me just say this.
No, let me
No,
talk.
Mr. Dancer.
No,
you
no,
cannot-
let me talk.
No, sir, you can't get into other people, third parties who are not here,
You're
who did not get
this is-
notice. It's
They
a public,
over
no,
the city of Hammond Police Department,
No,
just
sir.
the council.
This has been
The
addressed
Home Rule
by a
Charter
magistrate
State,
judge, by a
Section
magistrate
26,
judge.
that y'all can ask for any investigation into the city affairs. He don't want me saying it because he's law partner with Ashley Bass,
Mr. Dancer.
which is a conflict of interest on his part with Bergeron being the chief of police.
What are we doing?
Man, talk.
What are we doing? Okay,
We're gonna
This has been before a magistrate
No,
judge. No,
I'm
sir, no.
talking.
I'm talking because you should not be talking.
No,
It's not
you
on the
don't run me.
agenda. Yes,
And
sir,
I'm
this
not
is
scared of you.
I'm advising the parish president, the council president. Councilman, this is not on the agenda. This is a matter that's subject to federal court litigation.
president can't
It's
allow it.
already been before a magistrate judge who has recommended to be dismissed. All claims. It's not just the city. It's the clerk of court, it's the sheriff, he sued the FBI, he sued the U.S. Department of Justice, he sued the Postal Service. There's a lot of things here that this is not the subject for the city council meeting. It's in federal court, it's already been administered before a magistrate judge, it's waiting for the final recommendation to a district judge for dismissal. This is not something to be before the Hammond
He
City
don't
Council.
want y'all to be aware of it.
I can make you aware of any
Chief
question.
Bergeron
you
is
have.
y'all chief of police.
Everybody got a copy of this?
Yeah, I got a council report myself.
Okay.
Because it's not fair, if we're gonna let Andre talk, we should let him talk. So if we're gonna end this, we need to end it. But it's not fair to let one talk and don't let the other one talk. So if we're gonna end it, end it
I'm
now.
advising you, this is not on the agenda.
Yeah.
And he's going to speak about other people who have not been given notice that this is on the agenda. And I'm suggesting to you that it is entirely inappropriate. If you all read that material, if you have questions, they can be answered, or you can put it up on an agenda when everybody can be here to address the issue. But it's not fair to have an ambush with people who are not here and have not been given notice that he's going to speak with them about.
It is fair about the
It's not
police
fair.
report.
It's not fair, sir.
Section 26 of the Home Rule Charter states that the city councilman have the right and power and authority to investigate into any city affair of conduct. Y'all been knowing already about Bergeron. My complaint is, he's been the city attorney, which is a conflict of interest. He's law partners with Ashley Edward Bass, who I filed a complaint, criminal complaint against. And Bergeron refused to accept my complaint. They refused to accept charges and arrest her. Though the felony charge, identity theft. I had to close my bank accounts, credit cards, everything.
Mr. President, all this has been addressed before
No,
the federal
no,
court.
no.
There's no legal.
Police department, y'all.
It's all been addressed. The police department, the
Y'all never
mayor.
had this before y'all.
Well, because it doesn't belong before the Hammond
What
City.
you mean?
It doesn't
The
belong
chief
before.
of police, they doing the
It's in
job.
the
They supposed to
federal
know
court.
about it.
It's in federal court.
I'm gonna say this here, it's not fair to let one talk without the other one talking, but I don't know what's going on, but what you need to do, you need to get with the President Kip and sit there and see if you can get something on the agenda, because I keep hearing, Mr. Andre saying the other part is not here. So whatever going on, please get with the president and get on the agenda, for it won't be no misunderstanding or we calling names. And I don't worry about lawsuits myself, but just sit there. We just gonna do it the right way.
I'm just here because
I know.
I'm a taxpayer.
I understand that.
My taxpayer dollars are being wasted that y'all not aware of. She said a while ago about the unnecessary spending of $400 to the attorney right there. Okay? What about all these attorneys they use that y'all not?
Yeah,
aware of?
but I'm saying this here. This is what I'm saying. You get a chance, email Kip, call him, whatever. You know, that's where y'all can sit there and talk about it, because like everything on here, we had 21 items on the agenda. And it's a certain time, everything got to be presented to the secretary. You present it to the secretary and go from there. That's what's going on, because right now, we got council reports, and this wasn't a part of the agenda, but we gave you a chance to talk, and we let you talk. So we being no more than fair to you, and that's the truth. So what you need to do is get on the agenda for when the next council meeting? January the 14th. So you got, what, almost a whole month to get on the agenda, and we can go from there. That's where you can present, you know, whatever you have to us. So that's what I suggest. Because right now, and I'm gonna be honest with you, you can talk, you can keep talking. Ain't nobody hearing you right now. And so I tell everybody, don't waste it. Save it for when it really counts. So that's all I'm saying right now. We got council reports to do. You finish yours, Mr. Sam?
Yeah, I reported mine.
I got my council report. Mr. Charles, on Magnolia Street. The drainage, what's going on Magnolia Street? I contact Chuck and Mr. J. Pittman, he gone. He had talked to me, but it wasn't under him. So they stopped working on Magnolia Street, and they stopped working on Harold Street.
I don't know, but I can find out. You said you tried to speak with Chuck Spangler's
Yes,
office? Is
I
it,
did.
is your understanding this is a Chuck Spangler, a Spangler Engineering project?
Yeah, it
An
is.
engineer? Okay.
It is. And I want to say this here. I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, a happy and safe holiday, and be careful in everything what you're doing, and watch your surroundings. Merry Christmas, everybody.
All right. Again, as Councilman Wells just stated, I wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Take this opportunity to spend time with friends and your family and focus on real things that really matter. Mr. Dancel, I'll get with you after this meeting. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Meeting adjourned.
I know that